You wrote an article, three things to know about Cleveland's Week 3 opponent, so Browns versus Giants, a preview. Number one, Malik Neighbors has star potential. That's the Giants' rookie wide receiver. Number two, run defense remains an issue. And number three, the Giants' season could get away in a hurry if they lose in Cleveland. So take us through those.
Let's start with Malik Neighbors. This was a guy I think there was buzz right before the NFL draft that people were wondering whether Malik Neighbors should go ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. And Arizona obviously decided to go with Harrison, who put on a show yesterday against the Rams. But Malik Neighbors has been really good as well. Already so far this season, 15 catches, 193 yards, and a touchdown. Yesterday in Washington, had 10 for a buck 27 and a score. He's basically the guy right now as far as the skill position players go in New York, especially after letting Saquon Barkley go to the Eagles. I know they have a solid running back in Devin Singletary, but right now, if you're the Browns in that secondary, Neighbors is the guy that you should really be putting your first and second priorities on because he's the guy who right now who can hurt you the most. And he looks pretty darn good out there. Again, almost 100 yards a game so far in his started career. Pretty good. So that's number one. Number two, run defense is a problem. The Giants last year ranked 29th in the NFL in yards allowed on the ground. Started off okay, giving up 111 to the Vikings. It's not a great number, but it's also not awful either. Yesterday, the Commanders gained 215 yards on the ground. Brian Robinson Jr., who I think is a very underrated running back, 17 carries, 133 yards. And if you look at the highlight video that's in the story as well, he just kind of sneaks through a hole and runs for about 30 plus yards. So the Browns, they ran well against a Jacksonville defense that has been good against the run, especially dating back to 2023. This is a chance for that run game to continue to get better, especially if that offensive line continues to get healthy. If they can get Jack Conklin or Jedrick Wills back and plug one of them in at left tackle, it's a chance for that group to really get things going. And number three, I, I think we can understand the Giants, are kind of one of the weaker teams in the NFL a lot of people thought they were going to be picking very early in the draft, potentially one of those teams looking for a quarterback. But when you look at what they have coming up after this trip to Cleveland, it gets nasty pretty quickly. They host Dallas on a Thursday night, go to Seattle, have home games against the Bengals and the Eagles, and then they take on Pittsburgh on a Monday night. So there's a chance before they host Washington in Week 9 that they may go in that game potentially 0-8, and then they go to Germany to take on Carolina in Week 10. So this is a very difficult schedule that the Giants are navigating. Wouldn't shock me if this was a game that they really gave a strong effort for, even just above just a traditional professional effort, knowing what's coming ahead of them. But, if the Giants don't win this game, it could legitimately be a little bit before they get their first win of the season.